Right, Andy, here we are, back where it all began, 30 years ago. Looking a bit different these days, but can you believe it's been 30 years?
No, I can't. I was saying this just the other week, 30 years coming up. It don't seem like 5 minutes that I was here and making my debut here against Wrexham, so it's soon gone.
Have you been reflecting a bit more recently with the anniversary coming up?
A little bit, because a lot of people have spoke about it, put it on there. So we did a Q&A, me, Bully and Deno a few weeks back, and people were talking about that as well. So then it just brings it to light a little bit, where you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, say 30 years when I signed for the club.
As we say, the place was looking a little bit different back then. Can you?
Oh, it was, yeah.
Can you take us back to that day when you turned up in your orange Ford Cortina?
Yeah, so it was Bully's Ford Cortina. I didn't drive at the time. I didn't have a car, but Bully had his car. So we come down from West Brom. Total surprise. So I just turned up for training as normal at West Brom, and I was told that Wolves coming for me, and had to go down and talk to them. And so it literally a matter of seconds before I signed here. Even though, you'd think that West Brom, okay, big rivals, but at the time they'd just come down from the old First Division, the Premiership, just got relegated the year previous. I was playing in the side at the time, so that was the surprise. And all of a sudden they said, Wolves come to you. They're in 4th Division. I think it was in the bottom 5 as well. Things hadn't gone well. So the takeover had just happened with Dick Armden and Jack Harris, and brought in Graham Turner. So it was a new beginning for them in 1986. But at the time it was a big gamble, considering where West Brom were and what Wolves were at the time. But you just had a feeling about the place that it was going to go onwards and upwards.
And it literally happened, within one day?
Yeah,
It wasn't weeks of negotiations?
No, knew nothing about it. So I just turned up for training, normal. And as I just walked into the training again, they said, one of the coaches came up to me and went, look, Wolves are coming for you, they made a bid for you, we've accepted it, go and talk to them. Literally, that was it. So then they said, go down to the ground, go and talk to Ron Saunders, who was the manager at the time. So I went down to there, passed him in the corridor, not even in his office, and he said, Wolves coming for you, we've accepted the bid, go down and talk to him, and that was it. And he carried on walking down the corridor.
And then, we hear stories of cockroaches and pretty much a derelict building. Was it really that bad?
Yeah, it was. So it was awful, because as you know, we only had at the time it was the John Island, it's the Steve Ball now stand at the South Bank, which is Sir Jack one now, and North Bank was derelict as well. So, and this stand here, what we're sitting in, I think there was a fire prior to it, and they basically had to close the stand down. So it was, even though the changing rooms were under here, it wasn't great. So when it rained heavily, there was rain coming in. Like I say, the conditions weren't great. There was tiles off the wall in the bathrooms, and like I said, the cockroaches around the floor. So it wasn't the best of places to be getting changed.
We've had a chat with Bully as well, obviously, since you signed on the same day and all the anniversary coming up. He suggested he got a bit more money than you. He said he was on a striker's wage.
Yeah, so that's the thing, isn't it? Nothing's changed, is it? But at the end of the day, he still did well at West Brom. So I was very surprised that they let him go, because he was scoring regular in the reserve team when he was playing, and you could see that he had that raw ability and he had a hunger. That was the thing for him. He always wanted to score. He wasn't one of these players, if he scored one, that was him done. He wanted more, and any more that he could get, and that was proven with the amount of goals that he scored, at the 306. So at the time, me and him just discussed it with Black Country lads, and Wolves being our home club, that was the thing that made us sign for them.
So were you mates at that point already, like say Black Country lads?
A little bit. But Bully had other agendas as well, because he was married at the time. He's a bit like Superman going into the change room. So he used to go in that quick. By the time we got in there, he was changed and off. So he was he had other things that he was doing at the time. But I think it was when we first come down to the Wolves and had a good talk when we was coming across together, and so then become good mates.
And it started to click quite quickly, didn't it? I mean, certainly for you, everyone goes on about Bully's goals, but in that first season, you were pretty prolific, weren't you?
I did okay. So I think in total, I scored 50 goals. But I know the majority were penalties, but I did okay. Because initially when I come here, I was playing midfield.
Yeah.
I think it was just through injuries that I ended up playing full back, and ended up playing most of my career playing there. But I ended up playing various positions depending on injuries and circumstances with suspensions that I ended up playing there. So, but I didn't mind. So at the time, I didn't mind where I played as long as I was playing.
What position had you been at Albion then?
Well, I went there initially as a centre forward.
Right.
Because I say like when I was used to play kids football, so like that was what the position where I was in. What scored quite a lot of goals at an early age, and then I went to West Brom. Was there as basically a centre forward. Then ended up being more of an attacking midfielder, and then seemed to work my way backwards. But yeah, so that's what it was mainly. So like initially I was a centre forward when I first went to West Brom.
What are your kind of early memories then of that first season or two at Molineux? Did it all start to click quite quickly as a team?
I just think that I think the first 3 games, I think me and Bully, when we first come, I think we lost the first 3 games. I think it was 3-0 all of them. But then straight after that,
you went to the Chorley game as well.
I went to the Chorley game as well. That was memorable. So, but it was played at Bolton as well, wasn't it? Because they couldn't play at their ground. But so when we first come and we wondered what we had done at the time when we actually went to Chorley, because you're looking at the pitch today. How brilliant it is. When we come here first, it was muddy. Nowhere near the condition what they're in now. Yeah. So you can see the transformation in that. But again, after that first 3 games, it all changed round. We started winning, and in hindsight, it's probably good. We just missed out on the playoffs. We got knocked out to Aldershot because we went on a great run after that. After the initial first 3 games, what we lost, and then we lost to Aldershot in that playoffs. But then the year after that, we just basically from day one, that was it. But you've seen it from scratch, like Bully and Much, you just clicked straight away. And Graham brought in a few little players. You had Ali Robertson, his experience, and Floyd Street at the back, who were massive players for us. And it all just clicked, and it just happened. And so the next 3 or 4 years, just a great experience playing. Some
very shrewd signings, as you say, from Graham Turner. What was he like to play under?
He was great. So, because at the end of the day, so like he knew what he wanted. We worked hard, and that was one of the things that we did do really well. We worked hard as a team, and that was I think that was one of the reasons for our success. But also as well, we had goals all over the pitch, and so look, we got the threat up front with Bully and Munchy, of course. But like you've got Robbie Dennison who come in the March the following year. Mickey Arms, who was a player as well. We had Keith Downing who come in here as well, who did brilliant for the club. But look, we just had goals all over the team, and that was the thing. But it was that work ethic that was the thing. So look, everybody worked hard together. We knew what we had to do. We knew what our strengths were, and we played to it. And so we were very successful at playing that way.
And I'd imagine those 2 seasons with the successive promotions and 100 goals for Bully alone in those 2 seasons must have been surely as good as it gets really for a footballer.
Well, there's nothing better than knowing when you go out there on a pitch that you think that you're going to win every game, and that was the feeling what you had in the squad. You knew it was going to take something special from a team, a one-off game where they played really well, that they're going to beat you. Because we knew if we went out there and did what we've done every week, and that was the thing, everybody played, give 100%, and we knew if we did that, we were going to be basically unstoppable, and we were in those first 2 years. And as you mentioned there, Bully, somebody who scores 100 goals in 2 seasons, that tells you his own story as well. And I don't care what division you're in, if you're scoring that amount of goals in any league, it just shows that one, that you've got somebody up front who can score, but also as well something must be working right with the team as well. And I think that's what we had. It was just a collective unit as such that we knew when we went out there we could win every game.
Of course, things. Well, the rise up the league then stopped, didn't it, around kind of 1990 kind of time?
Yeah.
That must have been a frustrating couple of years.
It was, because I think the first year that we went into it, I think we finished probably about 7th or 8th, I think. And I think that if Graham had brought in just some key players, just 1 or 2 players, I think that we could have probably gone all the way, because we had the momentum. That was the thing. We had the momentum. We had a squad that was fit to play in this division, because we proved it by staying in it. And I just think that a few more acquisitions, I think that we would have probably just gone all the way with it because of what we had already in the squad. But it was frustrating that I never went up to the top division with Wolves.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then the club started to change quite a lot. I mean, Molineux was redeveloped. Sir Jack was in at that point, and a lot of money was spent in trying to get the club up. Did the club change a lot around that time?
It did change a lot, because where you've gone from, you've got a squad of players who were all together. We did everything together. We had social dues and everything else together, and then all of a sudden players come in, and look, say no fault of their own, but things changed, and when a bit of money coming to the club, then players come in. There was that a little bit more unsettling, but also as well injuries as well. You had your Jeff Thomases, you had your Steve Frogich, Tony Daly's, 3 big players that we didn't have for long periods of time through injuries for one thing or another. And when you've got players like that missing as well, who were quality players, then it's going to affect the team. And I think that's one of the things what was the stumbling block for the team, that we never really went and pushed on because we missed some quality players in certain areas as well.
Certainly a lot of skillful players kind of came in around that time. I wonder if there's any that you'd pick out as kind of the best that you played with.
Well, I'll tell you what, so look, he takes and beat him. I think Paul Cook was a great player for us. I think that him and Bully just hit it off straight away when Paul come in. He had a great left foot, he's passing, he knew where to put it for Bully, and Bully knew where he was going to go as well. So, and that was one of the things I would say. Cookie was a great player for us. Froggy, when he got himself fit, was a good acquisition for us to say. He was a fit lad, he was quick, he had a great left foot. And Tony, unfortunately, so look, if we did have him, I think that we would have got promotion definitely with those three big players. But again, Jeff, who's a big strong lad, midfield, England international, and again injuries. But I think that you'd say somebody like Paul Cook, who when we had him in here, was a quality player.
Yeah. I think it was 97 when you eventually left the club. Certainly wasn't something that you wanted to do at that time, was it?
No, it wasn't. So like, was it 29? Just come to 30. So I wasn't really ready to leave the club. I'd done well enough throughout that year, but unfortunately the club didn't want to offer me a contract. So he's been here for 11.5 years. He was a little bit gut-wrenching, I could say. Yeah. I didn't want to leave, but unfortunately, so these things happen. And Tranmere come in for me because I was out of contract here, and then I went there for 3 years. And look, so initially when it first happened, I didn't want to leave, but when I went there, I quite enjoyed it. 3 years at Tranmere. Again, I had a few ex-players from here, and I had Dave Kelly, Paul Cook was there as well. So again, it was like when we was first here. It's like the squad working together. We had good players there. They were happy just being in the Championship as such. And I had 3 great years there. I absolutely loved it, and just a shame that we couldn't pip it off by when we went to the Worthington Cup final. We lost to Leicester 2-1. I didn't play, unfortunately, I was sub, but yeah, so we lost to Leicester 2-1. It would have been nice just to finish my career at Tranmere with a victory there. Any
kind of games in particular that you stand out and cherish from your whole career, looking back?
Oh, it's got to be the Sherpa Van, hasn't it? Yeah. I know probably Bully said the same, but the Sherpa Van, with the amount of people that were there and the atmosphere, and at the time when we just won the 4th division, and just the feeling around the place. I always remember, before all these automatic tickets and everything else going online, I remember just mates and booking coaches and bringing in basically bags of money for tickets, like people had ordered from me. But it was just a great occasion, and to win there as well, it was just great because there's over 50,000 Wolves fans there, and that was for the 4th division club. Yeah, and it just shows you what the supporters are like, and what they think about the club, and the passion what they had, and just to top it off with that victory was great.
So when did you first start taking penalties then? How did that come about?
I took a penalty. My first ever goal was a penalty for West Brom. I was 17 against Chelsea. It was called the Full Members Cup, and we ended up having a penalty shootout, and I ended up taking a penalty on that occasion. And that's when it first started. And then at the Wolves, I think Bully took the first one and missed it, and they said like, who else wanted? And I said, well, nobody else wanted it, I'll have it. And then confidence goes. And one thing that was with me when I was taking penalties, I didn't think I was going to miss, and that was the thing. So like, I had confidence. I knew what I wanted to do. I never changed my mind. I always thought, if I hit it where I want to hit it and hit it firm enough, I'll score. Yeah. And I was lucky enough that that's what happened to Sellock. But that was one of the things that I never did. I never really looked at the goalkeeper and changed my mind to think, the goalkeeper's going to go this way. I knew if I hit it sweet enough that I'd score.
Some important ones as well. I remember one in the Black Country Derby down here.
Yes, I'll say it's always nice, isn't it? Well, but I think, was it 2-0 we won? Yeah, 2-0. Yeah, and that was probably one of the nervous ones, I'd say, because against your old team as well, being at home, a massive crowd. But again, so look, I knew that once you're there, and I made my mind up where I was going, that I was going to score.
And a few non-penalties. I remember that one at Ipswich in the FA Cup.
Oh yes, free kick.
Does that stand out as one of your favourites?
It would be one of my favourites, and I think somebody said that to me about what's your favourite ever goal for Wolves, and I think somebody else said that about the Ipswich FA Cup, and it would be, so somebody said it took a slight deflection. I think it was Fozzie who works at the club. So look, I think Lee Mills got the other goal. And yeah, we went on to win the fixture. But yeah, that would probably be one of my best goals. And I think I scored a couple of headers here as well at Molineux within a week. So look, I think Bully had a shot come off the bar, and I think I headed it in, and then I scored one later on in the week as well for that. So I thought them ones stand out as well.
For those who don't know, you've continued with the sporting theme since your retirement from the game as well. What have you been up to since retirement?
Well, just when I was coming towards the end of my career, so I went back to college because I left school with no qualifications at all, because I went straight into football with West Brom. So what I did is, I went back to college when I was still playing. I did maths and English, GCSE, and then I did like an access course, which is a couple of like equivalent to A levels. I did that and really enjoyed it. I'd been 20 years out of education when I went back into doing it, and then I really enjoyed it. And then I ended up, when I did finish playing, to do a degree at Wolverhampton University for full-time 3 years. And then after that I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do? And then get talking to people who are on the same course and around at the university, and I ended up being a teacher. So, and that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Is that primary school, is it?
No, it's secondary school, yeah. So it's from 11 to 18 year olds. So right. It's yeah. It has its moments, but I've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it, and again, as you said, it keeps me involved in sport.
Yeah. Do you regale the kids with tales of your playing days?
No, they keep saying that they've been on Wikipedia and on Google having a look at what I've done, and said nice hairstyle and moustache when I was younger as well. So yeah, so don't recognise me, but yeah. So it's more the kids have a look and find out what I'm doing and all that, because I think when I initially went there, I never said nothing to anybody, but so the staff knew, but so like I used to say it to the kids, and then they ended up having a look at it. But yeah, so look, I have enjoyed it. So I've always enjoyed various sports, and I just thought it was the right avenue to go down when I was finishing. And
of course, you're still a regular here, every game commentating on the radio as well.
Yeah, so look, yeah, a couple of years ago, so look, got asked to do it, and I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Go home and away as well, and I say I'll come to most of the home games beforehand as well, before I went on the radio. So they asked me to do it, and I have really enjoyed it. It's been good, and watching all the games and actually giving your opinions on what's going on. And
it's a club that you hold very dear to your heart.
Oh, it is. Well. Oh, yeah. So look, Wolves will always be my club. Yeah. So look, I'm a Wolves fan, and so look, there's never ever going to be another team that I'm going to follow as much as Wolves. And even if I wasn't doing anything involved with the club, I'd still be following them.
Yeah. And a couple of reflections on the current team. Like we say, we watch them week after week. How do you think they're going to go on this season?
Well, so look, it's a bit of an indifferent start, hasn't it? So look, we need to start scoring to start off with. So look, I think that's one of the things that we've struggled with, is putting the ball in the net, especially in games that we've been on top. And I just think that we've got to become more consistent. I think that we've got to play a lot better and a lot higher up the field. I think that sometimes we've got a tendency to let teams come onto us, and I think that if we start to get our players back who have been injured, your Dickos, your Danny Grahams and things like that, I think that Jordan Graham, so it's going to be a good thing's what going to happen, because I think that we've got a very good squad.
Lovely. Andy, thanks for joining us today.
No problem at all.
Thank you.